Hello, welcome back to Cult Movie Club, where we're doing something a little bit different today. We normally concentrate on Blu-rays on this channel, but today we're going to be looking at a more retro format, shall we say, which is VHS. Now, I'm in my 40s, which means I grew up in the late 80s and early 90s when VHS, well, that was the first, when I started collecting movies, that was the only format to collect them on. So back then, my first collections and taste of getting into movies and collecting them was VHS. However, once DVD started coming through, I did get rid of most and transfer over to DVD, and then I've done the same again with Blu-ray, which I say I'm not going to do now. That's it, we're finished. If I do get 4Ks in the future, I won't be replacing Blu-ray titles. Recently though, I've got given some VHSs, and I've seen some out in the wild pretty cheap. Now, I don't have a VHS player. Obviously, I used to, but I don't anymore, and I don't really intend to get one. So I'm not like a die-hard VHS. I'm going to watch these films to get the whole retro feel, because no, that is not the case. I've basically got these kind of as memorabilia for the films, I guess, and just a bit of nostalgia and basically something to have. I plan on keeping the collection quite small. I don't want it to expand into like the collection that I have of Blu-rays or anything like that. It might be the case that when I see titles that I really want, I'm gonna have to take titles from this so it doesn't get out of hand. But I don't know. It's not something that I'm delving proper into or anything like that. It's just a bit of a taster. So I'm gonna go through what I've got so far. And I've got a couple of bits here actually, which I'll show towards the end, that I've had since they came out, so that I've kept hold of. So I've had these since like the early 90s when I got them, when I was gifted them when I was a kid. Anyone who, like I said, was brought up in the 80s and 90s will recognise these big Blockbuster cases, because obviously if you wanted to watch a new film, you would go to Blockbuster and you would rent it. Obviously they don't exist anymore, unfortunately. So let's get into it. So we're going to make this pretty brief. So first of all, a film I saw at the cinema back in 1993, which I absolutely loved. And I remember my dad getting me a VHS copy not long after I saw it at the cinema, which was absolutely horrendous. It had Peter. The quality was really bad. People were getting up to go to the toilet and get popcorn. The picture was off-center, it was skewered. It was just terrible. It's Jurassic Park, which I've got on the VHS here. Now, this has actually also got a booklet in it. This was something I found out in the wild, in a charity shop. Yeah, it's a pretty big booklet, this, actually. It's got quite a bit of information about the film, and there's the VHS inside. It's a classic film, Jurassic Park, so I was quite happy to pick that up when I did see it. So I've got that. This one is a title that I have actually not seen. It's available on Blu-ray on the Premium Collection, the HMV Premium Collection. I've got quite a few of those. I've actually got a video devoted to that collection on this channel. If you're wondering what that is, you can go and have a look at that after this video if you want. So it is on there, but I have seen it, and it's quite a rarer title. It's quite expensive, but I'm going to keep a lookout for it, because I don't, even though it is on VHS, I don't like having a film in my collection that I've not seen. It makes me uncomfortable, so it's something I'm going to keep a lookout for when I see it cheap enough. It is Krull. I don't know whether this is the original 1983 release or not. It does come in a nice yellow case, and it could be the original actually. It is dated 1983 on the tape. If so, that is pretty old. So that's that, and there's no mold or anything on the tape, so that's quite good. Onto a few titles more recent now. These are all early 2000 titles, so these came out when we were transitioning into DVD from VHS, but they were still releasing stuff on VHS, so I found these really cheap, and I do like these films. So Mission Impossible 2, which is one of my favourite Mission Impossible. I know it's probably a lot of people's worst, but for me, it's probably my top 3, just because I watched it back in the day, and I really love John Woo films. Obviously, Fallout's the best Mission Impossible film, and Part 3 I really love as well. But I do have a real fondness for Mission Impossible 2, so I've picked that up as well. There we go. And then next, around the same time, was Romeo Must Die, which was my introduction to Jet Li. Once I saw this film, and then went and watched all the Jet Li films that were out at that time. I love this film. This came out around the same time as Exit Wounds, which is another title I'll talk about later. So yeah, I was quite happy to get that as well. Around the same time again was this Wesley Snipes direct-to-video Art of War, which is a good film actually, and I don't own this on Blu-ray because it's not actually available. I think you can get Region 1, but that's no good to me. So I was quite happy to get this, although unfortunately I can't be rewatching it anytime soon. It is a title I really enjoyed back in the day when I did see it first of all on VHS. Next, again, I think this was a little after those films. This was really hyped at the time. I remember being slightly underwhelmed by it at the time, but I have seen it since and I have got some enjoyment out of it. And it's an X-Rental tape of Triple X, which was an early Vin Diesel title. So this was off the back of Pitch Black. And why am I even thinking? The Fast and the Furious, which obviously is known for now more than anything else. They did a sequel to this, which was really poor in my opinion, but the original was not bad. Also stars Asia Argento. Yeah, it's like I said, it's an X-Rental, this one. So bit older now. On to I think this is a classic action film, but unfortunately the star of the film is not highly regarded really these days for various reasons. But I still enjoyed his 90s output and some of his later films. Steven Seagal in Hard to Kill, which came out after Nico, which was highly successful. All these films were really big back in the day. I remember this coming out. It's a really good 90s action movie. I really enjoyed it. I think this is the original 1990 release. There's nothing to say it isn't. It's got it on there. So that's a good one. I think I was gifted that one from my mother. The next one is, I mentioned it before, Exit Wounds, which came out just after Romeo Must Die. These are all Joel Silver produced films, and I think they were part of a trilogy that I did at the time, which finished off with another Jet Li film called Cradle to the Grave, if I remember correctly. This is good. This is probably one of the last good Seagal movies. They really did teeter off after this one. And he's not done anything recently that could even match up to this, really. And I mean, this was a good action film, but this was nowhere near as good as the early 90s stuff, but it was still not bad. That's a film I saw at the cinema. I saw it cheap enough, I thought I'd pick it up. Next is classic Jean-Claude Van Damme, Kickboxer, which I believe is the original. It's an entertainment and video release, so I presume it is, because I think this came out on a budget label in the UK called Forefront Video after. So I think this is the original release. I don't need to talk much about this film. It's an early Jean-Claude Van Damme martial arts classic, which I'm very happy to have on that format, which I do also want to Blu-ray. The next one is, so I was talking about the Forefront label. That was a budget label in the UK, so all of these you could pick up at like $5.99 price points. It's quite a fun film. It's about this kid it's basically the same plot as Karate Kid. He has to learn karate to beat the bullies, and Bruce Lee comes from the grave to train him. So yeah, bit wild. Right, these next ones now are all Schwarzenegger titles. I grew up with Schwarzenegger. He was like the first big action hero for me, and I'm still obviously very fond of Schwarzenegger. So I've got these, go through these quickly. These are End of Days, which was obviously a later title, which is very underrated in my opinion. Also stars Gabriel Byrne. Next is Eraser, which is again very underrated in my opinion. It's got that slight 80s action movie vibe to it. Schwarzenegger walking around with two machine guns in his hand, just taking everyone out. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really good. And on to more classic territory now with Predator. Now, I did have this, it won't be this copy, but I did have this exact release back when it came out. So I know this is from 1987. I don't need to talk about Predator. It's obviously one of his best films. It's a classic film. And finally, this is an X-Rental of the action classic Commando, which just looks absolutely awesome. That is a great cover. Possibly one of my favourite Schwarzenegger action movies. I think this is, but this will be from the original because it's the X-Rental. I don't need to talk about Commando either because it's, if you haven't seen Commando, then you need to change that and go and watch it immediately. Right, so staying with Schwarzenegger then, this was something from back in the day that I got. I think this would have been 93, possibly. And it's Terminator 1 and 2, and it's in a tin. So I'll just quickly show you this. So this is looking very old now, obviously. It's a bit rusty, needs good clean. I'll just pop this open so you can quickly have a look in it. So you get inside a little tray with a booklet all about Terminator 2 and some set photos. These are different. Yeah, there's some stills from the film, which is very nice. And then inside we've got Terminator 1 and 2. They're in like the cardboard sleeves, like the USA on this occasion. So obviously the Terminator is one of my favourite films. If you didn't know that already, sorry, yeah, it's my favourite film of all time. I also really like Terminator 2. By far the best sequel. Possibly one of the best sequels ever made to a movie. Right. And then after that, we've got something here that I've got more recently. I like this film. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I do like it, and it is a really good war film. It's Saving Private Ryan, sorry. Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg. It's a really good war film. It's one of the best. So this has got some bits and bats in it also. So let's just get the lid off. So we've got this here. We open this like kind of an envelope. And we've got some art cards, quite large art cards. These are quite nice. I've never seen this before. And that's like an actual bit of film in there. So that's quite cool. And then there's like the image like what we used at the time. So that's all really nice. On the inside of the box, there's also a print there as well. And then we get the VHS. Oh, if we get it out, this is one of those cardboard ones. We've got the VHS there as well. And then there's a little image also there. So that's really cool. Saving Private Ryan is obviously, like I said, a great war film, great film in general. So I was quite happy to have that. And then moving on now to the last thing that I'm going to show, which I believe is worth quite a bit of money. However, I don't ever plan on selling it. Because it holds some nostalgic value. I did get it for Christmas, I think around the same time. I think it was the same year I got the Terminator, possibly. It might have been the year after that, but anyway, it is Alien 3, which is not the best Alien film, but I still really like it. I think it gets a lot of flack. Obviously, it's coming off the back of Alien and Aliens, but it's still enjoyable. It was David Fincher's first film. You can see shades of his directing style in this, and I just think it's a good film. It's not the worst sequel. So we've got the VHS there, but I don't know if you can see as well, there's actually a watch in here as well, which has got like a little, I don't want to really open it because it's proper old at this point, and I don't want to damage the box any further than it's already been damaged over the years. But there's like a little alien inside the watch, if you can see that there. When I was a kid, I did wear the watch for a while, but it didn't last long. The battery ran out, and I don't think you can replace the battery. It was just like a novelty watch. So that is all my VHS. It's quite a small collection. There is no horror really in that collection. Horror is quite hard to come by on VHS. There is quite a few horror titles that I would be interested in owning in the future, but like I said, this collection needs to stay around this size because I really don't have the room really to. I struggle storing these, never mind anymore. So maybe a couple more titles that I'd like to own, and I might have to swap some out or whatever. But that is my collection. Have you got any interest in VHS? Obviously I don't watch these. I've just got these for like nostalgia and memorabilia items really, and that display on my Blu-ray unit on top. But have you got a strong VHS collection? Have you got some of these titles? I mean, have you got the Alien 3 title? I don't know many people who have got that. It seemed to be only a UK release, but I don't know. Let me know. Saving Private Ryan box set, is that a common thing? I'm not sure. Let me know. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again soon.